Hello, I'm John. I'm the Warhammer modeler, and in this video I'm going to be painting some greenskins. I'm going to be using the Blood Bowl goblins, not the ones that come with the new edition, but the previous plastic ones that were with the first season Blood Bowl. When I paint greenskins, I've played around with a few different methods. To start with, I generally only use 3 different colours. So I have the Thraka green, Moot green, and a camo green. I'm not sure what the equivalent of the camo green is now, but it's a yellowy green. So what I'm going to do is start these 6. It's going to be a nice and quick kind of paint job. What I do with all of my paint jobs is I do a tabletop level first, and then I can add more detail later on. To start with, I'm going to give them a wash of the Thraka green. So what I do with this, let's just move them all aside and work through them individually. Wherever there is the goblin skin, I'm just going to put this wash on. So I always start with the skin first whenever I'm painting. It's the lowest level of the model. If there's something beneath the skin, if there's bone showing or anything like that, I'll do that. But it also means I don't have to be too tidy as I do this. I can throw the wash on in this case, and I can build up the green detail, and then if I go over the edges, it doesn't matter because I can kind of tidy it up later on. I've just got to look at where there is any green on this. So I primed these a long time ago, so the primer's had a long time to sit. Okay, so that is the first coat of ink done. This is still a little bit wet, so I'm going to wait a little bit and do the next stage in a minute. Okay, so the wash has dried. Next stage is Moot green. And what I do with this is a kind of a heavy dry brush. So going over it a few times with a dry brush to get the green on, rather than it being quite subtle, it's quite a heavy one. So we'll start on one, we'll work through them all and have a look at them at the end. So there you'll see quite a heavy dry brush, so you'll see that the colours covered it quite a bit. What I'm going to do now is let this coat dry and then use the Thraka green again to pick out a few more of the details and then move on to the next step. So we'll let these dry. Okay, so on to the third stage, which is going to be more of the Thraka green. Rather than just pasting this on, it's now going to be a bit more strategic. So because I want to keep this skin light, I'm going to just get it into certain areas to kind of get some darker skin tones. If you want to make a darker green, I'd wash this completely over again with the wash, but we'll do it a little bit for now because these are goblins and they're not going to be as dark as the orcs would be. Right, so that's that stage done. Nice and quick, that one. So we'll let this dry before we move on to the next step. Right, on to the last stage. So what I'm going to do now is some dry brushing with some camo green. I'm not sure what the current equivalent to this is, but as you can see, it's a yellowy green. So I'm not going to put too much of this on. It is going to be a light dry brushing. Depending on what green skin you're doing, if you're doing, say, quite a large orc or something like that, you might use a darker colour, or you might repeat these layers over and over. For the goblins, I tend to just finish with this layer. And there we have it. So this is the starting stages of when I do green skin. So as I paint more of the model, I might add a few other greens. I might knock it back with a bit of Nuln Oil or Agrax Earthshade. But this is my starting point. So from here, I then go on to the next stage of the armour and things like that. Benefit of doing the skin first, you can be as messy as you want. You don't have to be too tidy. You can tidy it up afterwards. If you were doing a darker orc, darker green skin, you might add a few more layers of colour and so on and build it up. I tend to find having that green wash in between each layer picks out the detail quite nicely, and then you can carry on working from there. So I hope this little video has been useful. This is just how I start out with the green skins. Obviously, like I said, I'll do a lot more work to this afterwards, but as a basic tabletop standard, I don't see a problem with just leaving it as it is and then painting the rest of the mini. Anyway, I've been John, I'm the Warhammer Modeler. Stay safe.